What's up, guys? My name's Brandon, and we are just over a week away from seeing iOS 18 officially unveiled by Apple, and we just got a bombshell report that pretty much confirms that Siri 2.0 is coming in iOS 18. So in this video, we're going to discuss the latest rumored iOS 18 features, and I'm sure a lot more details are going to come in the next week, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any iOS 18 coverage. Okay, so before we talk about Siri 2.0 and the major AI changes coming in iOS 18, we have to talk about iOS 18 potentially including a redesigned control center. Mark Gurman said this: "A lot of people using macOS 15 and iOS 18 keep mentioning the revamp to settings. Obviously not a huge deal, but it's getting a new UI with a reorganized, cleaner layout that's more simple to navigate. It also has much improved search, and there's also updates to the control center." So the redesigned control center is something we've heard about for years. I mean, I feel like every year we hear a redesigned control center is coming, but the thing is, we've never heard that from Mark Gurman or some of these credible sources. It's always come from sketchy sources, and also Mac Rumors chimed in, and they also said that they are hearing that a redesigned control center is being tested for iOS 18, but they cannot confirm if the changes have been finalized. So it looks like we might be getting the long-rumored control center redesign that we've been promised since like iOS 15. So that'll be nice, and also the change to settings, a new revamp, a new redesign to settings. It could maybe be the more translucent look like we heard about, previously, where it might look similar to Vision OS, but there's been no word on that. We also just got news that the Messages application might include new text effects, and this comes from Mac Rumors. So they're saying that we're going to see new text effects in the Messages app in iOS 18, similar to the bubble or full screen effects that you can already do, but you'll now be able to animate individual words within a message. They go on to say, "Our hope is that Apple will also add bold, italics, and underline formatting options alongside the text effects, but we have not confirmed that possibility." So it looks like with iOS 18, you might be able to animate specific words in a sentence and not the entire message, which will be pretty interesting. I don't really know how that's going to look, which is why a lot of these leaks and rumors sound so cool, but it's not really spoiling everything because we don't actually see how it works in practice. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with Messages, especially since we are also expecting RCS support this year. Okay, so now we have to move on to the big bombshell report from Mark Gurman about Siri 2.0 and the AI features. And this comes from Mark Gurman, and he had a report that said Apple is planning to overhaul Siri with more advanced AI functionality that includes allowing you to control individual app functions with your voice. This new system will allow Siri to control and navigate an iPhone or iPad with more precision. That includes being able to open individual documents, moving a note to another folder, sending or deleting an email, opening a particular publication in Apple News, emailing a web link, or even asking the device for a summary of an article. All of those features, all of those functionalities will apparently now be accessible through Siri through voice. And speaking of different commands, we are also hearing that this new Siri will finally be able to handle multiple commands at once. So here's what Gurman said. At the start, the new Siri will handle one command at a time, which he means in iOS 18.0, most likely beta 1 or throughout maybe the whole beta stages. We're not going to have multiple commands. We'll touch on that in a moment. But basically, he says that Apple plans to allow users to chain commands together. For example, they could ask Siri to summarize a recorded meeting and then text it to a colleague, all in one request. Or an iPhone could theoretically be asked to crop a picture and then email it to a friend. So that sounds like an actual assistant, something that Siri should have had for a long time now, but it looks like we will be getting that, just maybe not in 18.0. The report also says a major component of the new push is a system that will use AI to automatically determine if a function should be handled on device or in the cloud. And an interesting use case for this AI is smart recaps. So this is going to be summaries of missed notifications and individual text messages, as well as of web pages, news articles, documents, notes, and other forms of media. So all of that sounds amazing, and this pretty much confirms that Siri 2.0 is coming. I mean, this comes from Bloomberg's Mark Gurman, and it's also highly detailed, which means all of this stuff has been in testing for a while now. So it's likely going to come in iOS 18, but like I mentioned, it's probably not going to be in 18.0 because Mark Gurman also says that this will be coming in a later version of iOS 18 in 2025. So we might be seeing this in like version 18.4 or 18.5 in early 2025. Oh, and also to add insult to injury, you might need an iPhone 15 Pro for these features to work, because he said that many of the on-device AI capabilities will require an iPhone 15 Pro or later to work. Macs and iPads need an M1 or later chip. So after reading this, it makes me think that Apple's iPhone 16 that's coming up this year is going to definitely have some exclusive AI features. It seems like Apple is really trying to push people to upgrade their iPhones in order to take advantage of these AI features. So now I'm almost 90% sure that the iPhone 16, especially the iPhone 16 Pro, will have several exclusive AI capabilities, like functionalities that you can only get on the 16 or 16 Pro. Now, in addition to this report, we also heard about Project Greymatter, which is the code name for Apple's AI-related tools. And we have some more details from Apple Insider. They said that Apple has developed a new cleanup feature for the Photos app, which will allow users to remove objects from images through the use of generative AI. There's also an internal application known as Generative Playground, where you can utilize Apple's generative AI software to create and edit images, and it features iMessage integration. So this sounds like what we heard in a previous report from Mark Gurman, where we might have AI emojis, where you can basically make your own emojis in iOS 18 based on what you're typing. And the Notes application is looking to get some major changes this year. It looks like it's going to have in-app audio recording, audio transcription, and LLM-powered summarization. So they say that all of those features will be available within one single note alongside any other material that users choose to add. This means that a single note could contain a recording of an entire lecture or meeting, complete with whiteboard pictures and text. And then here's where it gets interesting with the Notes application. And we heard a little bit about this before, but there's some more details now. And this is for math notes. So apparently the Notes application will be able to recognize text in the form of mathematical equations and offer solutions to those equations, and it's going to eventually support graphing expressions as well. And to add on to that, there's going to be keyboard math predictions. This is an option to autocomplete mathematical equations in a similar way to how Apple currently offers predictive text or inline completions in iOS on the regular keyboard. So yeah, all of these features sound pretty incredible, and this is really just the tip of the iceberg, I believe, for iOS 18. Like, I feel like we've talked about so many AI features, so many Siri features, it's kind of getting overwhelming at this point, which to me, that's a good sign. That's a good sign that we're in for a great update with iOS 18, as long as you limit your expectations and don't expect everything that we're talking about to be in version 18.0, especially within the beta stages. Like, don't expect the first version to come out on June 10th and it to have every single thing that we've been talking about, because that's not going to happen and you will be disappointed. But I do hope to see a lot of the features that are inside of the applications come in 18.0 and not in a 2025 version of iOS 18. But it'll be interesting to see. Let me know what you guys think about all of these AI features, and I will have a lot more coverage on iOS 18 as the weeks and months go on.